Given the praise that I gave to 28 Years Later, of course I was going to talk about its sequel, 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. Alex Garland returns to write, but this time the director's chair is filled by Nia DaCosta. It stars Alfie Williams, Jack O'Connell, Erin Kellyman, and Ralph Fiennes. And like with anything still recent, at least by the time I'm recording this, I may put it out a bit later, so it might be fine, but still, I will talk broadly at the beginning, like I tend to do, and then give a clear line of, right, I'm going to talk spoilers now, and head into that. So everyone can enjoy this. There's a lot I do want to talk about, and a lot of it is spoilery, so this first bit might be quite brief, but like I say, I really enjoyed the first one. I thought it was interesting, that sudden tonal shift it felt like at the end with the Jimmies. Their dynamic, who they are as a group, how Spike integrates with that group, and any sort of issues that brings up, I think, was handled very well. I enjoyed that extrapolation from the end. It certainly isn't, for me at least, where I was expecting it to go, but I really do appreciate what it did. It was very interesting to me to see, like I say, that group dynamic, especially as I'm starting a module that's on about social psychology, so it's in my head a lot, sort of those group dynamic work. But of course we've also got Dr. Kelson's side of things. We saw him as a bit of a strange fellow, and then that beautiful Memento Mori sequence in the previous film. But here we, see a little more about how he's living there. And this was something I saw like in blurb, I think, on the cinema site. So I'm not really spoiling more than is easily accessible. But he starts to see things in the alphas that give him some inspiration, shall we say, to explore that further. And how that's handled, again, it's beautifully done. And of course the worlds collide throughout the film, leading to a very spectacular set piece that I was just grinning throughout the entire time in the cinema. It was amazing. I'm not even a big fan of the music behind it, but it made it just elevated it to me. Again, I'm not going to go into spoilers. That's about as much as I can say without really delving into it. But if you enjoyed the previous one, if you like sitting there and having a good time and having, like I say, some amazing moments punctuated with beautiful shots and, some interesting reveals, you will enjoy this film. Absolutely. My partner and I were like, yep, we'll watch it. We saw the other one in the cinema. We wanted to recreate that experience. Given how far along in the pregnancy we are, this might be one of the last films that we're going to do that to. There's not going to be many more that we probably want to see over the next few months. There's a few that I do, but mine and my partner's tastes sometimes don't match, and that's perfect. You can have separate interests to a degree. But like I say, if you enjoyed the others, this will be a good time, and I hope you'll enjoy it as much as I did. And if we're going to get another one, close out a trilogy, which it looks like from the ending we may, I am definitely going to hopefully be in that cinema for it. I said definitely, but no. Depending on pregnancy/baby things, we might have to, negotiate with grandparents and things, some babysitting time if we have to. But still, that is all I can say about the film. It's kind of like I've been padding for time so the spoiler phobes can go away, because now I'm going to talk spoilers. Because, oh my god. The moment I watched a review that unfortunately did say the Jimmies are not good people. That's especially Sir Jimmy Crystal himself, as played by Jack O'Connell. And he's amazing. He's brilliant in this role. I hated this guy, but I could also understand him. And that's really good acting, as well as compelling writing. But how the group is run, it's like there's 7 at any one time of the fingers, as they're called. And the way you get your plays is you kill the one that basically you're taking the spot off. Or you die trying. And obviously everything else that they're fine, they're fine doing whatever because they're bringing charity to the world. I like the socio-political commentary here, because given what the inspiration for the character was like, the whole idea is like, oh, I'm going to do all this charity and be an amazing person, but he was using the charity effectively to cover up horrific acts. This is a logical extrapolation of that. You're doing horrific acts that you're calling charity to make it sound less bad. But we learn that Jimmy is basically a Satanist, and when he gets wind of Kelson and that meeting where it's like, look, they think you're Satan, basically. I've told them I'm coming to meet Satan. They arrange this thing to do this, like I say, spectacle. Like when I said before, I was just sat there in the cinema during the Number of the Beast section. I'm not the biggest Iron Maiden fan. I enjoy Run to the Hills a little, but a lot of their work, as much as I enjoy a good gallop, it feels like it's all just that all the time. I like a bit of variety. So the sort of couple of songs that I might like of Iron Maiden's are pretty much emblematic of Iron Maiden to me, and that's fine. I don't need their entire back catalogue. But even as not a massive fan of their work or the song, I still enjoyed that sequence from Ralph Fiennes. Absolutely, he threw his whole Voldemort into that, basically. That's the only way I thought to phrase it. I haven't seen an actor have this much fun for a while. That you can just tell on the day that was shot, no one walks away from that not beaming. You can't tell me that. I will not believe you at all. Of course, the death of him is quite sad, but the fact that he was making such great inroads with Samson, and then we see Samson sort of getting his memories back a little and fighting off other infected. Now, I believe that the concoction that Kelsier has given him to cure the rage has also inoculated him. So now I think he's basically got antibodies. And if the rage virus can be transmitted through blood spray into, that gets into your mouth or your eyes, or any kind of bodily fluids like saliva. Not that I want to see this, but it's how I pitched it to my partner. It's like, so basically Samson could just spit on people to cure them of rage. That's potentially, whilst Kelsier the character has died, what he has potentially caused to happen is really interesting now. And of course we're gonna have to see that in a follow-up. But the one thing that I really wanted to avoid with every fibre of my being was the fact that scrawny zombie in the first one is absolutely not Jim from the first one, because my god, when Cillian Murphy turned up at the end, I was like wide-eyed, like, oh my god, I can't believe it. I thought he was like, no, I'm done with it. I'm not coming back to it. It's one and done kind of territory. But no, I was like, that's Cillian Murphy. Jim survived. And he's basically training his child, like teaching his child proper education, not just how to survive. Very much the counter to the island society that Spike comes from. The education of the world before is just as valuable. And I love that Jim's that kind of person. Perfectly makes sense. And then, In the House in a Heartbeat started playing. I was like, wait a minute. And then we see the crossover, we see the running. So we're going to meet, or sort of say, Jimmy and Jim, not Jim, Spike and Jim are going to meet. Too many Jimmys and Jims. Spike and Jim, and Jimmy, actually, yeah, because Jimmy Inc. So they're all going to meet, like, the sort of years later in the original, we're going to have that crossover. And I think maybe the next one will be, this is the end. Tying everything up so we know what's happened with Jim, everything like that. We've got the potential for a cure. I'm super excited for it. I think the last thing I want to say is, I've been very praiseworthy of all this because I can't think of anything that was awful about it. It's nothing I hated, nothing I was like, oh, that could have been so much better. And I think I really enjoyed the breath of fresh air that Nia DaCosta brought to the direction. I really thought it was still sort of in the field, but that like shaky cam, constant, handheld feel was a little less here. There was still elements of it. It's still got to have that frenetic energy to be a 28 whatever film. But I think it was tempered nicely, and please get Nia DaCosta to do the next one as well. Or someone else. Change director each time. Brilliant idea. And maybe someone who's even more slow-paced. Wes Anderson, why not? But yeah, those are my thoughts. Like I say, the spoilery bits, the non-spoilery bits. I really enjoyed this, and I'm looking forward to the next one. Are you? Did you go into the cinema to see it? Did you sit there wide-eyed, like mouth in the most like wide grin you could ever have at Number of the Beast, or did you hate it? Please let me know in the comments below. But until next time, as always, thank you for watching, and take care.